Greetings internet peoploids, Darkly Dave here. Today I want to talk about non-binary and genderqueer identities. But to lead into that, here's a few definitions for you to just keep in your head. Cisgender is someone whose gender identity matches the gender that they were assigned at birth. This is commonly, at least in our society, divided exclusively into male or female, which has its own set of problems. Transgender is simply somebody whose gender identity does not match the gender that they were assigned at birth. That's it. There is no necessary prerequisite of dysphoria or anything like that. There's medicalized things that are something entirely different. Demigender is someone who experiences a partial connection to one or more genders. And non-binary is someone whose gender identity exists outside of the binary notion of men and women. There's also the term genderqueer, which is closely related to non-binary and is an identity that also exists outside of the prescribed binary in our culture. That's the genderqueer pride flag. And genderqueer is also how I identify recently. I've just sort of come into this identity. I'm still working things out for myself. There you go. My preferred pronouns are they, them. I'm testing that out. But at the moment I'm pronoun indifferent. Another term is gender confusion or genderfuck, which was what I was previously using, which is someone who enjoys deliberately being outside of prescribed gender roles and behaviors. This is linked in personally, not always to other people who may just enjoy it for the sake of politics or personal aesthetics. I found that part of the reason that I enjoyed just throwing gender roles and expectations out the window was to do with gender euphoria, which is the opposite of gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria being a discomfort with the externalized view upon you or imposition of a gender that you do not feel that you align with. This is also a medicalized term. Gender euphoria is the opposite of that, when your gender is affirmed by someone. So it's when somebody uses the right pronouns for you, when they recognize you as your gender and you feel happy about it, that's gender euphoria. Again, you don't have to have gender dysphoria to be non-binary, genderqueer, trans, doesn't matter. Genderqueer and non-binary often come under an umbrella term of trans. This is not applicable to everyone. Not everyone feels comfortable with that, and that's ultimately personal preference. So with gender, you have your assigned gender based on sexual characteristics at birth. The problem with this is it often erases intersex people, and it doesn't take into account if someone is trans. So you have your sexual characteristics, that's your biological sexing basically, and is often where your prescribed gender identity comes from. Your gender identity is your innate sense of yourself and what your gender is. It's the identifier you use within your society to others. Your gender identity is how you communicate your gender, how you understand your personal gender, And it's also how you navigate within or without society's norms and expectations about that gender. Your gender expression is how you manifest that externally. For instance, I prefer to dress androgynously. I enjoy painting my face, which ultimately has nothing to do with my personal gender. It's just something I like to do. For some, it is. I generally have to present masculinely in my work because I work as a gardener and I work in a relatively conservative area. Especially most cis people don't understand a lot of things to do with trans people, so it's easier to avoid the whole situation. And because I don't experience any real degree of dysphoria, there's mild discomfort but it's workable, I can pass, essentially. Passing is acting in a particular fashion that means you can pass under the radar and not be seen as inherently queer in a straight society, generally. So I can be perceived as male, people use male pronouns, blah 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 blah. That doesn't bother me, but for a lot of people it does, and it really sucks that they shouldn't have to pass. And it sucks that there's this idea of passing privilege and stuff like that. Erasing your own identity to pass isn't great. It's not the worst thing, but it's not great. Some more umbrella terms are gender non-conforming, gender diverse, gender variant, and gender expansive. These are umbrella terms and descriptors which refer to people with identities outside of the expected binary in our society. So I myself am gender diverse. We are a gender diverse group of people, basically. Yeah, so that's it for this video. I hope you found it informative. If you have any questions that aren't shitty trollings or there's only two genders, don't bother with that. I'm not going to read them. I'll just block you. I don't care what you think. Leave comments below with reasonable questions. Simple stuff, really, you can Google, like, what is this term? If you want to know more terms, there are plenty of different advocacy groups that will happily give you an explanation. There's also the ABCs of LGBT by Ash Hardell, who's also genderqueer non-binary. They were identifying as a demigirl at one point, but Ash uses they them pronouns as well. There's also Chandler Wilson. They've got a really good YouTube channel. Chase Ross's Trans 101 series has much better information than I can provide. And there's more. I can't remember the names. So thanks so much for watching. Feel free to hit the like button. Links to Twitter and Tumblr below in the description. You can subscribe if you want to. That'd be awesome. And I've got links to other videos over here. So thanks so much for watching, and bye!